So that'll be cool. But anyway, should we get started?
Yeah.
I think we already kind of started without starting.
We definitely started without starting.
We got some killer B-roll.
So I don't know. Did you ever actually like roll in jiu-jitsu? You said you did, right?
Yeah, we roll like.
So you know the secret handshake for rolling.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So this is what we do in the podcast before we get started. We say, "Are you ready?"
Yeah. Man.
All right, and then we start rolling. Okay, so that's
there you go.
Let's roll.
Let's roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Daily Carry Podcast. Today we have a really exciting episode because we have a special guest on. Her name is Tetiana Gaidar. Did I say your last name right?
No, that's
How
right.
do you say it?
Gaidar.
Gaidar.
But I'm changing it to Dar, so it's easier for everybody. Just
Tetiana Dar.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we're really excited to have you. Thank you for making the not so long trip from Burbank, somewhere near Burbank.
LAX. I had to change my flight.
That's right. I forgot. You had to change your flight.
Yeah.
But we're really excited to have you today. And we're excited that you are excited about what we're doing here in Colorado with our JWI event. And it's tomorrow night. And we're so excited to have you with us for that. But first and foremost, we're excited to have you on the Daily Carry Podcast. You've kind of tuned in, seen a couple clips and a couple of episodes, and you kind of know what we talk about.
Yeah.
And you wanted to come on, and we're thankful for that. But this is really a great platform for people to just share kind of their stories. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but I think that's what everyone that would be listening to our show right now would just love to hear a little bit about is
Right.
What's your story?
Story. In a nutshell or like in a long form?
Beginning to end. You can go where you want with it. So just so you know, we've had sheriffs on, congressmen on, different people. They share what drives them, what their passion is. It's not, we had the congressman on. He didn't sit down and talk about DC politics. He talked about life and faith and family and why he does what he does. And you can tell what you do.
Yeah, first of all, like I'm really excited to be here. All honestly, too, I've been like a big fan of you guys. What you guys do, work and videos, like for a long time. I think we've been in touch on Instagram.
It's been a while,
texting each other. It's been amazing. I love what you guys do. I love the whole idea. I love how cool and professional videos are, like a real fighting. And you guys kind of brought it all on a little different level than it's like usually, which I love, more creativity and more like, style to it. And I'm happy to be here. Hopefully Taryn can be here tomorrow too.
Hopefully. Whenever Taryn hears this, just know we're still holding out for hope. Hopefully you show up.
Hope is a big thing. Talking about hope. Like hope is like why I am who I am and where I am right now. And hope is like, I think that's what drives me. Faith and hope and some kind of belief in a justice and serving to other people and making something that can inspire somebody like I was once inspired, because I was so inspired one day when I was in Ukraine just watching stupid X-Files with David Duchovny, and I was like 10 years old. And I remember like back home, like when I grew up, we didn't have a TV or anything in Ukraine. It was just like a black and white little something that my dad brought from work. And we were like, what is this? And I remember he just turned and we just start watching this X-Files. And I was like, wow, English. Wow, I love the language. What is that? Gun? Oh my God, FBI? What? Conspiracy? Aliens? Helping people? Saving lives? Scully, Mulder? Oh my God, she's so adorable and cute, and look at him and suits and guns and like mysteries and adventure. I'm so hooked in. Mom, I'm gonna marry David Duchovny. I'm gonna. I know it sounds so crazy. Like I right now I look back and I'm like, how did I as a child just look at something, was so moved and inspired that my whole life changed. Like everything since that moment, I was like, I had that hope and faith and belief that this is where I'm going to be living. I'm going to be in America. I'm going to be doing all this. I'm going to be helping people. I thought I'm going to be a police or FBI agent, honestly. I want to be like FBI or secret spy or something. But it's so funny. Like right now, my mom watches videos of Terrence and she's like, I can't believe this. You were like, 10 years old, running at home with like, pew, 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 like doing this. And now it's like real guns, real like videos. Like, how is this like, how our mind works? How would God works in such mysterious like way of like making our dreams, come true. Like, how does it work? It's fascinating.
So you were in Ukraine.
Yeah, I was born in Ukraine. And long story short, my family is kind of from everywhere. So it's not just Ukraine, but I was born there. And I was just like I wanted to come to America and live here. I don't know how to explain that. Do you guys have that sometimes?
Yes.
You just watch some movie or like this is what you want to do in your life or where to live. Did you guys had that?
Mm-hmm.
My experience has been a little bit different, but I can understand. I can relate. I don't know. I think it just, for me, it was more so kind of growing my way into some of those things. The first thing that I fell in love with whenever I was young was jujitsu. So that's why we're here where we're at right now. And that wasn't until I was like 14. So I didn't find jujitsu until I was a teenager. And then as soon as I found it, that was the first time for me that I found something that I just fell in love with. Before that, I was just kind of trying to find my way, trying to find my thing. I always had faith. I always had my faith. My dad's a pastor, so I didn't ever have a choice. My joke is I had a drug problem. My parents drugged me out to church all the time. But it took me a little bit of time to finally find jujitsu, and then whenever I found it, I fell in love with it. I knew I was going to do it for the rest of my life, and had no idea that jiu-jitsu was going to open some of the doors that it's opened for me in my life, which is cool. So I think that in my way, I can relate to what you're saying through that, but it just came a little bit later. It wasn't just when I was a kid. Yeah. It was a little later in life, but I mean, I say later, that's still pretty young, but
I mean, 10 and 14 kind of close.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
I was a little different because I came from a pretty abusive dad. And it was one of those things that it taught me very early. When you grow up, I don't ever want to be any of those things. So when you said law enforcement, that was like my trajectory. When I was like 13, 14 years old, I went to like a little junior cadet academy with the local police department and learned what it was like to be in the law enforcement setting, if you will. And then later in life, went into the medic world and then the law enforcement world and SWAT and fugitive and door kicker, and I ended up doing that as my career, very much as a calling. I did have a stint where I thought I was going to be a pro hockey player, but I didn't exactly make my tryout. So I did some junior B stuff. I liked to fight back in the day. I had a lot of fun with that, but I always just knew somewhere in the back of my heart it was always going to be law enforcement on some level. And then when I got into it, I really replayed some of the things that happened when I was a young kid, and I said, I want to go after the guys that do that to kids. So I started hunting people down in law enforcement. I was a fugitive hunter.
Awesome.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. So, and it made a good career out of it. And every contact I've ever had really came from servanthood from that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Even you sitting here, that to me is very relatable, because when you were sharing that story, we were dirt poor in Kentucky and had no TV, had no nothing. Yeah. So for the first 8 years of my life, I never watched it. I never saw anything. And so when we finally moved to Michigan when I was 8, I saw my first TV channel, TV program, TV anything. Yeah. And that was very surreal.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Same. I remember we grew up in such a tiny apartment post-communism. Mm-hmm. So we're me and my brother and my sister had to sleep one on top of the other, in the bed. And, the apartment's literally like this for all 5 of us. So it was kind of watching TV shows and movies was my space to just kind of go in my private zone, my dream, this is my life's gonna be because we were so together all the time, kind of no privacy.
So how did you get from that to training with some of the biggest people in Hollywood?
I have no idea. Like I said, God writes scripts in a way that I cannot explain. I only can speak I want to say I don't know how it happened. I know I was so determined, and I'm so stubborn, and I had a dream, and I knew it's gonna happen, and I know God's gonna help me, and I just have to keep going no matter what. Every hard situation or anything that's happening to me is for the best. There is a lesson in everything, and everything makes me stronger. And my dad, when I was little, he was going to the kung fu competitions. My dad always was saying to me, you're a fighter, you're going to win. I mean, it's a good and a bad thing to say to a girl, you're a fighter and you're going to win, because your whole life kind of becomes a fight. And you're like, oh my God, Dad, I wish you didn't told me that thing when I was little. I'm a fighter all the time, because sometimes we're not, we just have to let go of some things and not constantly fight. I feel I speak for myself. I feel sometimes, okay, let go. That's just not mine, better things will come. And they do. But that mentality that my dad taught me, just fight and you're going to win, really helped me to go through a really hard time. So I saw John Wick. with Keanu when I was in Ukraine. And I was so moved. I'm still like shaking right now. I don't know what that movie did to me. Like, it was just the whole idea of like, I mean, first of all, the Kung Fu was so beautiful. It was such a dance martial arts. I've never seen that before. And honestly, what Keanu, Chad, and Taron did, they changed the whole Hollywood in a way. They did.
Yeah.
They brought weapons to the form of an art, the jiu-jitsu, the fighting. It's never been done before in the movies.
Right.
There was a lot of great action movies here, Aliens and Terminator and other, like, legendary, Stallone and Schwarzenegger, but not to the point like Keanu did, what he did. And when I saw it, I was so moved in the movie theater. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And the whole story about justice and fighting for people who cannot, like you doing, like who cannot fight for themselves to get that justice back. It was so moving to me. And knowing that I'm coming from Ukraine, obviously I will never be like an FBI agent here. It's just not going to happen because I didn't have an idea how I can be a citizen here. For me, it was like, I didn't know I could be that. So I was like, well, what if I can somehow move to America and try to be an action actress? I mean, I don't want to say action actress because actually it's not the right word, but just be an actor who plays and tells the story of this people who inspire other people who've done something courageous, or like John Wick, a fictionary character, but is so inspiring because Keanu have done all this training, like at his age.
Yeah.
And the movie is fantastic at look what it stands for, So I was like, well, what if I just sacrifice everything I had, and I had a lot back home, and just move here? And right now I look back, it was really crazy. I don't know how I survived these years because I moved here with literally $200 in my pocket. Taron doesn't like the story. He's like, don't say $200. But it was true. We had a concert in Philadelphia with a singer, and I got paid cash. And she changed my ticket, and I came from Philadelphia to LA. And I started texting all my dance friends on Facebook, hey, can I stay with you? Hey, what should I do in LA? And I was so, it was so stupid what I did, but it was so stressful for my family too, because pretty much I never came home with one luggage. I was going to do a concert in Philadelphia for 5 days and then come back home. But instead I went to the concert and I flew to LA, and now I'm trying to figure out my life and living in the car and trying to learn how to drive a car because I never drove in Ukraine, and doing U-turns in the freeway and other crazy stuff I probably cannot talk openly on the podcast because it can get me into trouble. But it was like really like crazy. But I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I'm my own like FBI. I have to, solve my own life. I have to like figure out my living situation. People, I have to find where Keanu trains. It sounds like a stalker, but like it was like it was literally like that. And Instagram came out, and everybody was on Instagram, and I'm like started Googling like where Keanu trains. Where Keanu go for the John Wick? And of course, the first few places came 8711 and Chad Stahelski and Taron Butler, Taron Tactical. So I did like a list. This is the places I need to like get myself to, because I know if you want to be the best, you have to train with the best.
Yeah.
There's just not, and you have to train, and you have to work hard. There's no like easy way around it, So my dream was to come to 87 and Taron Tactical and to the best theater school here, because I used to train in Russia and Ukraine, and train here. And one of the first people that I met when I moved to LA was John Bernthal, Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met him randomly on set of Ford vs Ferrari because I loved his dogs. I'm obsessed with dogs, obviously. And he was speaking Russian to me, and we started talking. And he like introduced me to a really amazing like Meisner school in LA when I went to train. And then he also told me about 8711 and Chad, that I have to go there and train. And he didn't mention Taron Tactical, even though he was going training there. I told him years ago, why didn't you tell me about Taron? Like you could have like, helped me. But anyhow, it took me like years like to get to Taron and start training there. And then, look, I don't know how it happens. Like, I don't know how I am sitting with you guys right now here, like working on movies. How I think if you have a dream and you have a good heart and you have a good filter with people, I think it's important just to have that instinct with people, because you can get in so much trouble coming to another country. Like, it's so dangerous. Like, and I was like so close to a lot of dangerous situations that God saved me from. that you can pretty much achieve anything you want.
So I have a hard question. I think I already know the answer, but let me first, before the hard question, let me set the tone for the hard question. Okay. So you were talking about John Bernthal's dog. I'm a big fan of John Bernthal. I listened to his podcast, and
You are?
I heard him talk about his dog. I've heard him talk about a lot of stories in his own personal life and his personal development. And so I want to ask, was the dog that you met that was with John, was that Boss? Do you remember? Pitbull?
It was a pit bull.
I think it was probably Boss.
It was a pit
And
bull,
I think
but
it must
he
have
had
been
2 at that
Oh,
time.
okay. So I've heard the story of he shared the story very beautifully of whenever his dog had his last day with him
Yeah.
before he passed away.
Yeah.
And so that was leading up to my hard question.
Yeah.
Because you've talked about John Wick, how it moved you, how it inspired you, the message behind it. Here's what's crazy. They talk about in the Wick is Pain documentary, they talk about how they had this panel with men and women saying, was all of this killing justified over the death of a dog? And like most of the men said no, but like 90% of all of the women said yes.
Yes.
So that was my hard question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of your love for dogs? And if that's the case, like, was it maybe because you lost a dog of your own, or kind of had that experience, that loss, and put yourself in those shoes of, wow, I cannot believe somebody would kill somebody's dog? Do you think that has partially something to do with it?
I think as a woman, as a mother, like, we have kids and we're more emotional, like attached to any like innocent life. So it's not just dog, it's cats and kids and birds and anything else, like insects in a way, that cannot like protect itself. I've never had a dog. I always wanted to, but like I said, like my family we grew up in such a little apartment that it was always a dream, but not a possibility in any case. And I still don't have a dog because I'm all everywhere all at once. Maybe one day I'll have a pit bull like John and take it with me everywhere. But I think it was more, kind of protect and defend, like what you do, Michael, like protect and defend people and animals and anybody who don't deserve that.
Makes sense.
I think that was more that just justice, because there's so injustice in this world.
Yeah. I mostly was asking because I absolutely love dogs, and I think that all the killing was justified. Don't mess with a man's dog ever. Did you see the video of Micah getting taken down by my dog in the last JWI?
Oh yes, it was
you
your
saw
dog.
That? Yeah, that's my dog. Yeah,
that's
Zion.
dog.
Yeah, he'll be here tomorrow night. You'll
Oh my
meet
God,
him.
yes, please. Oh my God, I love
awesome.
that.
Yeah, he is a good dog.
I
but
love that.
That's why I was asking that question, because for me, that's definitely. I mean, the revenge story, all that's super cool, but it's definitely that scene and the way that they grip the documentary. For anybody listening, if you haven't watched Wick is Pain, it's so cool to see the story of how hard it actually was for them to get the movie finished and release it. But killing a dog apparently is like the age-old rule in Hollywood: never kill a dog. And that was what they said. Like everybody in behind the scenes, like, you can't kill a dog. You can't kill. But they're like, no, you have to understand the way that we've painted this whole picture and this whole script. It's going to work. And they're like, you can't kill a dog. That's the number one rule in movie making. You don't kill a dog. But the way that they did it, it really put you into the scene. Like, it was a tearjerker. It was like, and it was not like, it was tears of not tears of like sorrow. It was tears of pain and tears of anger. It's like, wow, this is absolutely unbelievable that somebody would just do this to the dog and then leave it right in front of, as Keanu's in the scene on the floor, and they left the dog right in front of him to wake up to. The scene was so perfectly depicted to where it was just like, these people were evil. They needed to die.
Yeah.
I was convinced of that.
Wait till you meet my bride. I saw the movie in the theater, and later I picked the movie up and we're at home and we're sitting in bed, and my wife would echo every word you just said just as passionately. She is like, these are her babies, right? Her fur babies. And when the scene starts developing, she reaches over and grabs my hand and she starts squeezing.
Yeah.
And she goes, please tell me they're not going to hurt this dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Everything transpires. And she sits back and she's like, no. And then the very first guy that Keanu goes after, Gina's like, yes.
Yeah, me too.
You don't mess with the dog. And it was what was great about it is at the time we had 3. So we had a 105-pound yellow lab, we had a blue heeler, and we had a big basset, like a 70-pound basset, just a massive basset hound. and they were all sitting on the foot of the bed, and they watched the movie with us.
Wow.
They were literally watching
Wow.
the movie, and it was kind of a surreal moment because my wife
Wow.
was like totally into. And you got to the reason that the reason I share that is Jaina is the most passive, sweetest. She brightens every room. She's just the genuine, most kindest person you could ever meet. Don't mess with her dogs.
Yeah.
It's like there's a whole different side of her that comes out,
That I think that like
and that's that maternal instinct.
yeah.
And that's weird because we just talked about this on a different
We did,
episode. We were
yeah.
just talking about maternal instinct
Exactly.
in a woman and the depths you'll go to protect your littles. And in my world, also dogs.
Yeah.
And then like what else was amazing about that character that they created? Like think about that. He's not a perfect person, John
Right.
Wick. He's pretty much
Yeah.
he's a bad person too. He's an assassin, right?
Yep.
So he's not like always killing bad. We don't even know he was killing before in the contracts, right? But like that little thing with the puppy shows, it's like turn us to love that unperfect person that is in every single one of us. Nobody's perfect.
Yes.
We all live or learn, and we're not proud of some things we have done or do. Not to the point that assassins do, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and then we connect to it even more. Now, okay, I want justice, but I'm also not perfect, and you're like me, and
he keeps trying to step out of it
yeah,
and essentially says, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And they're like, no, when you're in it, you're in it. And the evil just keeps coming, and he just has to keep battling, even though he doesn't want to do it. And I love the storyline. I think it's one of the greatest storylines in a movie.
and it's so simple, and like everybody can like
So relatable.
And on the other note, it's so funny. Like when I met Taran, I remember I was so shocked. So there's this big guy, right? He's huge. I mean, Taran's like 6 feet. Like you guys are tall and big, and then I see him at the range, pretty much care about and save every bird, every bunny, every insect, every like spider. He doesn't hurt anything, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like a real John Wick. like, that was so funny. I didn't expect that. He looks so mean and he's so big, and then he's like, oh no, hey, hold on, spider, a bug's here. Let me get the bug.
That's in the Bible. You know that? That's Proverbs 12:10. It says, a righteous man regardeth the life of his animal.
Yeah.
So all this is tied to biblical roots. That's how we can bring God into this conversation and this discussion, is that there's something biblical about that. And then you have also the stories of the shepherds. You have the story of David protecting his sheep, killing a lion, killing a bear. So that is, to me, whenever I watch John Wick, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh man, he's just doing what he has to do. You don't kill a man's dog. You don't do this. And then they just keep coming after him. So let me ask another question that's going to be probably harder than the question I asked before. Got to rank all 4 of the movies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we have 5 now. You got to rank with Ballerina in there too. Good luck. Which
John
one?
Wick movies?
Which one? Which one's your favorite? Rank them 1 through 5. Go.
That's so hard. That's hard.
It is very hard. Micah, do you think you could go while she's thinking?
I mean, obviously the first one changed my life because like I am, because of that movie here, I moved here and I am who I am pretty much because of that movie. The second was going to be John Wick 4 because I had a chance actually to meet Keanu and like help train him and be around him and tell him my story. And I remember when I told him how he changed my life, he was like not expecting that. He just like, one of the days, I didn't bring it up. I was just like, hey, Keanu, like, how are you? And he's so nice. Like, there is one thing about Keanu, just like you guys right now. And it's really rare in people. When you look at somebody's eyes or talk, or like, hey, how are you? You actually like, how are you? Like, I want to know, how are you? I'm going to look in your eyes and I'm going to get to know you, like on a spiritual level. Like, I really want to get to know you, right? So I remember one of the training, Keanu just sit down. He's like, no, sorry. He was standing. He's like, so Tetiana, how are you? How did you came to America? And I'm like, oop, you asked the question. So I'm going to tell you the story. And I was like kind of excited, but very shy. I told him in a nutshell and he just sit down. He didn't expect, he's like, no, I didn't change your life. No, my movies don't. He's like, no, my movies don't do that. No, I can't. Like, no, I'm just, hey, Taran, just come back. Let's keep training. He was so uncomfortable to just knowing that, but like happy in a way. And shocking. I don't think he was expecting that. So John Wick 4, obviously, and then I was on set of John Wick 4, and it was just like unbelievable experience, watching Keanu like act and chat work. It was amazing. Keanu just coming, he's like, so how was my acting? was it believable? Are you serious? I'm like, sorry, what? Like, you asking me how is your acting? Oh no, get out of here. So there was obviously like second. And then John Wick 3, because it was fantastic. Like, I think with Halle Berry, how she was, come on guys, with
yeah.
dogs and stuff. Wow. I mean, for every woman is like, that's what I wanted, like make those characters so realistic that other women will look like, oh shit, like I'm going to go into jiu-jitsu, I'm going to train, I'm going to do this. I'm going to not be like afraid to like try other things, to like explore different skill sets, be more confident in myself. And then John Wick 2, and then, oh my God, I forgot about Ballerina.
Yeah.
And then, no, I think Ballerina and then John Wick. John Wick 2.
Interesting.
Oh my God.
So the second one was your last.
Yeah, because that one I kind of missed in a way because I was surviving here. So I didn't
Makes
really
sense.
enjoy it much. I had a lot of like surviving moments here and like trying to, navigate through a lot of like weird people here and living in the car. So it wasn't like, at some points you're like, what am I doing? Like, maybe should I go back? Maybe that was a bad idea. So I
Wow.
think that's why the second it wasn't as joyful as other. And obviously, like Ballerina, I had a chance to, train on and help be there with her and at the range, Taryn and Steve Dunleavy and everybody. And she is an amazing person. She was really nice too. So, but again, like it's a different for me as a John Wick that changed my life in a way,
Oh, yeah. I would agree with your selection for the most part. I was asked this question whenever I was on somebody else's podcast, and that's why I thought of it, because it was a very hard question for me to answer
Yeah.
on the spot. But then whenever I actually started to think about it, it made perfect sense. And for me, it's 1, 3, 4, 2, and then Ballerina. The reason being is John Wick 1, obviously that's what kicks it off, and
Yeah.
that's what sets the whole tone for everything.
Yeah.
But number 3, I think I was more excited for that one than any of them, because John Wick 1, like they didn't really know if they were going to make another one. So there wasn't like this cliffhanger at the end.
Yeah.
Not so much, at least. After number 2, everybody was like, oh, when's John Wick 3 coming out?
Yeah.
And so I was so excited. Like when I was just waiting for John Wick 3 to come out. So that's why for me it's 1 and then 3, because I just remember being so excited whenever it finally came out. I just remember watching it like 2 times within like the next 2 or 3 days. It was crazy. And I just enjoyed it. And I really liked the new concepts they continued to add to the fighting scenes, which was cool. And then, yeah, so I'd say 1, 3, 4, 2, and then 5. That's for me. What do you think, Micah?
I was 1, 3, 2, 5, 4.
Wait, 1, 2, 3,
1, 3, 2, 5, 4.
5. What's 5?
Well, Ballerina.
Oh.
That's what I'm including number wise. So the reason I did that is because I actually did. I know it wasn't, box office wasn't as big, but I actually really enjoyed the storyline.
Yeah.
And I loved the fact that there was a scene in the movie where she looks over and he's going down
Yeah.
the escalator.
Yeah.
And the time frame and the way they tied that together actually took me back to 3. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Makes
I
sense.
enjoyed it too. I just think it should be like not compared to the, like John Wick its own, because a lot of people like they kind of throw it all. I think that's what happened with box. I think it should just Ballerina is Ballerina.
It was a
Its
standalone.
own standalone.
It was a
thing.
standalone. I just like the fact that they when they tied that scene
Yeah, yeah,
together.
yeah. No, that was
To me,
fantastic.
that made that very relatable.
Yeah.
Well, for a myriad of reasons, but that was for me. I
But
actually
wasn't it like when I was watching John Wick 3 and I saw those girls dancing, I'm like, that's already, also ties you up to like a next thing. I was like, I want to see them fight. What is this all about? Like, that was cool.
What I love about the movies. So, do you know what Rosie the Riveter is? Does that mean anything to you?
No.
So World War II, American men are going off to battle, and the female workforce in America were essentially building the weaponry and the hardware and the ships and everything. So they came together, and they used to call them Rosie the Riveters, and they would all wear these headbands, these red headbands, and these blue shirts, and they all looked exactly the same. So when John Wick came out, all of the gals that are in the switchboard operators, they're all wearing the pink shirts.
Yeah.
And it just took me back to a time frame where you're behind the scenes. You're kind of the whole thing that's making it happen. Yeah, there's somebody over here making a decision, but all the workforce back behind the scenes. And I love how the fact that it was modern day, but we were using typewriters and DOS, and it was like old school. There's just everything about that scene I love. Every single time when they switch over to the switchboard scenes, I love those scenes in the movie.
It's so funny. Like, I think it comes from Chad, director of John Wick, because when you get to know the guy, him and Tara, and they're like so knowledgeable about everything in 80s, 70s, 90s, whatever it comes, like there's no, not only in movies, just life and everything. So I think all that, the old in the modern, was brought on purpose
Oh,
by
of course.
Chad, because I think he loves that too. And I think that was really, like you said, like unique.
I just love the fact that she's reading
Yeah.
the transcript almost like you're reading Morse code that's printing off an old printer.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting here and
was
it just
awesome.
ties it all together. So
And the music and the
Oh.
muscle cars and like everything all about, but like a modern style and suits and like this whole like jiu-jitsu, you know, that's never been seen before in the movies like that before, and judo fight. Like it's been existing for how many years?
Yeah.
And it's never had like that much respect like that. No. I
Yeah.
think like all around the world, people, oh my God, everybody I know or trained goes to do jiu-jitsu or judo or something, even like amateurs, you know?
it sparked I think it sparked a whole generation coming out of that first
Yeah.
movie. I really do.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah,
think
I
so,
think
too.
that so many people, like, I mean, I grew up like watching James Bond. Like, I mean, John Wayne before James Bond. It's
Yeah.
always a J for some reason. I don't know why. It's John Wick, you know. Now it's John Wick. But yeah, John Wayne, and then James Bond, John Wick now. But John Wick just like took everything that we knew
Yeah.
and changed it and made it like, wow, there's some realism. And it was really a lot of the weaponry. I know that that's a big way that Taron came in and made the movies what they are, is because now you're actually shooting scenes with guns and not just having infinite ammo, but you actually are doing reloads. And it actually adds to the cinematography, because the way that Keanu does it, the way that he started flicking out his magazine
Yeah.
and things like that, that adds to it. Like people are like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I got to learn
Sexy.
how to do that. Like whenever we have our media days for the JWI events, the guys are like, oh, hey, I saw John Wick do this in the movie. I'm going to do this in the scene or whatever. So it's made a huge impression for sure, because now I think when people think of like their classic action movie, now it's for most people probably John Wick. It's
Yeah.
probably not James Bond or
No.
whoever else they think about. You know, it's John Wick.
His combat reloads. I teach a lot of tactics. I had a guy. It was funny because I had a guy once like, "Oh, you're doing like John Wick style," and I'm like, "Well, actually, I've been doing that for like 25 years, and John Wick took it from me."
Yeah.
So that's the only claim to fame I have, is that Keanu
Yeah.
stole my mag dump on my combat reloads.
And I
I'm
think-
totally joking when I say that, but yeah, we do it the exact same way.
No, I think like Kiana actually during one of the interviews, he said it out loud. He never said like there was, I will find that, I'll show it to you. There was one interview I saw where he was asked that question and he actually said that.
That he
He,
saw it
he
somewhere?
never said it like I make up this move. He said it like I got it from something where there was an origin of how it came out. So he never
That's very
he
nice.
never said. And I remember there was also other thing. Keanu is such a man. Like I wish like more actors do that. Like the person who just gives credit to everybody, who contributes to his success.
Humble. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so humble. And I remember one of the interviews also somebody like said that he trained him like for one of the movies or something like that. And he went also on interview and he's like, oh no, everything I know from Taron, like it's from Taron Tactical. Like that's the only place. And he was talking about the wick, where it's coming from. He also tell the story. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
I'd love to see it. So how did you get? So you sought him out. You made this list.
Yeah.
You said I'm going to go all over. How did you
Terminalist.
get hooked up in Taron Tactical? Because that's a pretty renowned. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was, I guess, is that naive person in me. I didn't know how big deal it is. I didn't know how big deal it is to actually make it in Hollywood and meet the right people. I was so naive, I think that blind naiveness, that that helped me a lot, because I was just naive. I was like in my fairy tale, in my hat, you know, I'm like, okay, well, this is how it's going to happen. I was making an action movie, a low budget, not a big action movie. It was some kind of a short film or something. I don't remember, but one of the people on set introduced me to a musician. He was an ex-cop, and he's like, he told me I should go train for this movie in Oak Street shooting range for my part. And I'm like, I would love to go train Taron Tactical. Blink, blink, blink. Like, do you know Taron? Can I possibly go train there for a movie? And he's like, oh yeah, Taron's my like friend. Like I can get you trained for that movie there. So he invited me there, but then COVID hit. The range is closed. The dream goes blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dear God, make it happen. Like, why does it everything has to be so hard? Like everything has to like kind of fall apart at the last minute. But I'm like, please make it happen. And I prayed a lot. And then there was the Super Bowl party. And then he invited me there, and Taryn was there. So I'm like, I met them at the party just randomly. I was like, oh my God, you're my legend. And I told him the story, and he was like, what? Like, oh, you know, how a lot of people hear my stories like, oh, whatever. But like, yeah, $200. Yeah. All right, come for training. But then I think eventually he believed my story, and he saw how passionate and crazy I was and how bad of a shooter I was. So I was really bad when I started shooting, like really bad. Like, but I was so passionate. I was like, this is so cool. I was so excited. I'm still excited talking about it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm in John Wick right now. I'm like, I'm at the range. I'm at the legendary, range with legendary Taryn Butler. And then COVID hit, and then I needed a job really bad because I was so broke. I didn't want to tell that to Taryn because I was playing the game, being like, oh, cool. I have my together when I didn't. But I asked him to like, if there is any way I can help clean the range and, stay there and help with classes. And because I was training dance my whole life back in Ukraine, long story, but I used to have my studio and I trained a lot of workshops like everywhere in Europe. So I was a teacher since I was 16. After my boyfriend died, like when I was 18, like dance became like my therapy. And I was training so much. I was teaching people, doing workshops. So you think you can dance, all that. And I think Taryn just saw that I'm really good teaching, like explaining things. And he just kind of kept me, and that saved my life during the COVID because I was so broke. Like I didn't have any money to eat or anything. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? It was a really hard time. He pretty much saved my life back during the COVID. He doesn't know that deep, but
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah. That's actually very powerful.
The coolest thing is that you shared that you prayed and it happened. I love those stories.
I always
Those
pray.
stories mean so much to me because I know what that's like.
right?
I know what it's like to be at the end of your rope and be praying and then the right door open. And that's powerful. And I think more people need to hear, like, if you are facing a mountain or you're facing the end of your rope, so to speak, it's time to start praying, because if you pray and you seek it, I think it'll be open
Or when
to
you're
you.
not facing it, you keep
True.
praying too, because I feel like I've been doing that last night before coming here. I'm like, wow, I'm just so grateful for, this opportunity. And, I was kind of bummed that I have to leave earlier Sunday now, but I'm like, well, I have another opportunity. Like I have to be grateful for everything, and I'm going to meet more good people. And I think it's like, and no matter how hard it is, I think we should always, seek for that hope and pray and understand everything that happens for the best. Just
Amen.
You know what I love about your story? So you watch something on TV,
it's crazy.
X-Files,
It's crazy.
right? I've seen every episode.
You did?
Oh, are you kidding? That was my show. But I love it because you're looking through the eyes as a small child in a small apartment on a tiny little box
In Kiev, Ukraine.
in Kiev, Ukraine, and you go, I want to do this. I want to aspire. And Jared and I talk a lot on the podcast about what's happening in the world and in the country. And there's just a lot of things that have people divided, and they're very
Yeah.
unhappy, and they're unmotivated, and we've got a laziness. We just lots of things.
Yeah.
And your whole story is the polar opposite of that. It's faith. It's hope. It's a love for something that you want to go do. You're not sure how you're going to do it, but you do it. You set forth a course. You get after it. You move to America, a couple $100 in your pocket. You're trying to figure things out, but you never stop seeking. You never stop trying. And eventually you get to, at some point, you make contacts, and then you keep developing those contacts. That, to me, right there, should be the American dream for
Thank
everybody. But yet,
That was for me.
and yet I'm hearing it from somebody coming from Kiev. And I go, I don't understand why we're missing that in this country. I don't know if it's not because I want to make this political. I just don't understand it. I've never gotten it. As a small boy, small town Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, Appalachian Mountains, Harlan County, lots of bad things in family, lots of bad things in childhood, all that stuff. I never looked at it and thought, oh, I can't do it. I took just the polar opposite. I'm like, I'm going after it. I'm getting out of this mess. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to chase my dreams. And even when those dreams sometimes crash and burn, there's always another dream. There's always another door that opens up, to Jared's point. And
Yeah.
prayer opens doors.
Yeah.
Faith opens doors. And so I don't know. I relate deeply to people that have a story to share, not just because of success, but because they never stopped. And that to me is, out of everything you've said so far, is the coolest thing. I mean, it's neat that you get to meet all these famous people and you get to train with some pretty renowned people. And we're going to come down here on the mat and train. And we're going to do fun stuff, right? But at the end of the day, what I hear is your heart and your soul and your faith is what drives you and what's gotten you to where you're at. And that to me, that made this whole podcast worthwhile.
100%.
No matter what else you say after that, it's your conviction on who you are. And I love that.
And also, like, on the other note, I want to say right now to everybody who's watching, is like, it's not, I want people to know that what you see on Instagram, it's not what we have every single night, day in our life. Like me, you, and everybody, Taryn. Instagram is like a platform where all the social media, where we share to inspire. That's how I was moved to movies, Instagram, like to when I was going through a hard time, look up, okay, well, I can look like that. I didn't look like that. I never had this body. I never had this face. I never had this, how you give me a compliment. Thank you. I never looked like that in my childhood. If I show people how I look like, I'm like, oh, I always look like a boy, older, fatter, so Instagram and like other platform movies for me, like inspire. And I want to tell everybody who's watching is like, no matter what you're going through right now, don't think that our lives is set in stone, because I think me, you, and you, we still have our struggles. No matter how where you are in your life, you still have your challenges, your struggles, your family, health, and other things that you're like battling through or like praying through and trying to get a solution to. So I think that's really important, because I think a lot of people just watching is like, oh, yeah, life is good. You can talk like that on a podcast. Oh, you too. You got through your hard time. Everything's okay. No, life is life for everybody the same. We're all going through the same thing in the different stages in our life.
Yep.
And it just keeps going.
That it does. But everything that's been shared so far, honestly, I'm incredibly excited for this episode to be released, because I think that there's a lot of people that will appreciate that we had a lady. We have the only ladies that have been on the show has been our wives so far. And to hear a different perspective, because uniquely enough, a large majority of our audience is women.
No way.
It is women. I mean, we have dudes, we've got some guys that listen, but a large majority is women, and they're the ones who really interact and comment, and they appreciate the conversations that we have. So I think it'll be refreshing for that, but also to hear such an incredible story of where you've come from and the way that you did it right, because that's a whole nother thing, is being willing to put in the work to make sure that you're not just cutting the wrong corners, the corners that you really can't cut. You got to actually put in the work. Some shortcuts are not actually shortcuts. Some shortcuts will actually lead you to failure. If you don't actually put in the work and you do it the right way, then it's going to lead you to failure. So to tie all this together with Micah, you saying that, it's inspiring. I agree. It's so inspiring. But here we have an example, as you shared, of being persistent and not giving up and continuing to put in the work behind the scenes. And like you've said on Instagram and even on podcasts, we're sharing really the highlights. Yeah. And it's sometimes very hard for people to understand the trenches that we have to walk through in order to actually even have the opportunity for those highlights to be shared, to be able to hopefully inspire other people. And so that's something that we've done on the podcast a lot too, is really got into the weeds of, man, this is how bad my life was at this point. And that's what I think the podcast has really given a good platform for, is to share a testimony rather than just these highlight moments where it's just all the good stuff and none of the bad, but to hear the story of, it wasn't always this way.
No.
It took a lot of work.
No, if only people see the amount of tears and prayers and other things that you do along. And I still go through that, like up until today. It's like, oh, like you work in a movie. It's like, no, I'm going through a lot on this production or that production. Or like I shared with you, like the entire year, what I was doing, I was training with the people I'm dreaming to work with, but the amount of sacrifices I put into that hard work, it's a hard work people don't see on Instagram. All they see is a final video of you jiu-jitsu, but like wake up at 4 or 5 and like going and injuries and recoveries and piling through and like, keep fighting for your career and your dreams and stuff. No, they don't see that. But I think everybody has that in their life, and it's important to share those. Like you shared, it was amazing that you shared about your life and your childhood and stuff like that. What made you do what you do right now? It's inspiring. It's like, wow. I think every child who's going through that have to hear it.
Yeah.
I have to say, I was very blessed. I always try to shout out to my wonderful wife. I married way up. It's a Kentucky term. We call it raising the bar. So I'm here. She's way up
According
here.
to your wife, she married up, though.
She.
According to your wife.
It's exhausting being a trophy
Cute.
husband.
That's so cute, though.
She is. She's my everything, and we've been married 31 years. And she's at home right now. So you share something. Jana puts this cookie exchange on every year. Every year, 40, 50 gals come over, 7 dozen cookies apiece. The whole house gets decorated. They have 2 hours of giggles and laugh and music, and then do the cookie exchange. And it's wonderful to watch. It takes about 2 months to pull it off. and in the week before the exchange, it's 15, 16 hours a day baking. Jana makes 15 batches of 7 dozen cookies apiece for the gals who can't cook or can't bake or can't bring them. She wants to make sure that they have something to give. So she gives other people something so that when they walk into the party, they have something to give back, even though my
sweet.
wife made it. And the thing that I love about it is she just does it. It's just the joy, 15, 16, 17, 18 hours a day baking, like physically baking. And she's a psychologist, so she's doing counseling sessions in between, and it's just absolutely amazing to watch her go. She's a machine.
Wow.
But she's the happiest human being you'll ever meet. And so I love, because ironically, her family comes from Hungary. They came over the border during the war. She has 2 great uncles. One fought for the Nazis and one fought for the Americans, ironically. Just crazy history. Came over here, naturalized, went through the whole process, Ellis Island, everything, to become citizens in America. And her father shares a very similar story. So he left Hungary when he was 8 years old, came over on the boat, escaped. Some of the family died. They ended up with a state senator for the United States out of their family. He ended up with an 8th grade education. He worked on the line building cars at General Motors for 52 years, lived in the same house for 63 years. And he will just tell you it was all about determination. Stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. Prayer, God will provide. And 83 years old, they've been married 62 and a half years. And it's just aspiring. It's amazing to me when I watch people that have a journey like what you've been through, but also have a dream to make something happen. And I just love that. I love that you shared that. That I can't tell you how much that made my day.
Thank you. And same here. Like, I'm really happy to hear other people's stories and how they came to where they are and what's their next 5-year goal and stuff like that.
That's what I was just going to ask you too. What is your so what happens next now? Now that you're here, now that you've, I don't want to say made it, but you've gotten a portion of your dream. What does it look like now?
I'll be very brutally honest right now. I actually been going through like a logo, deconstructing myself and figuring out what is next. Because obviously I still didn't achieve that dream that I wanted to, make that female character to like Keanu, but be that for all the other women. Because I know right now I inspire a lot of women. Like I meet them at the airport and they're like, oh my God, because of you I started shooting, or I became an actress, or I get my shit together, I lost weight, and I enjoy my life, and I do jiu-jitsu, and like la la la. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can do that. This is so makes me happy, I can work with animal shelters. I can save kitties on set of the movies and like meet wonderful people by doing that. But like, what's next? And I think, and Hollywood's not easy. Like it's not the easy industry to be in. It's really like they say, there's a lot of sharks and you have to be a shark and you have to fight. So at some points, like what I've been going through deconstruct. Okay, so is that really still the dream that I want to pursue? Or there is other things potentially that I can go for? But I still love what I do, like a lot. Like I love being on set. I love creating characters. I got this audition. I got excited. This is a great part and it's still joining me. So I'm going to keep fighting for my dream. It wasn't easy after COVID and after SAG strike and stuff like that. It's not easy. The industry changing with the whole AI right now coming. It's becoming a different game with all the movies shooting in Europe right now. Nothing's shooting pretty much here anymore. It's also very hard and different. So I keep fighting for my, dream to have that franchise of mine, to have that role that can actually just create a character that will inspire, like Wonder Woman, John Wick, Sarah Connor, something that will move people. I'll keep fighting for that probably next 5 years and create a family of my own, hopefully. I want to have kids. I want to have a dog, finally. Like that'd be nice.
How many kids do you want?
I want to have 2 minimum. I was told that actually I can have twins
Really?
by my biology and whatever. So maybe I can get 2 in one and call it a day.
Yep. All right.
Slipped.
Well, let me just encourage you that as you're still seeking that role, it's pretty apparent that even being willing to come on a podcast like this and share that story, the bigger and greater role is you just being you. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of people that just listening to this podcast even can be encouraged in the way that you clearly want people to be encouraged and inspired. I think that it's already happening. You shared stories of a couple people coming up to you and sharing, hey, I do this now. I've lost weight. I have a healthier life. Even just this, I think people listening to this episode will be encouraged and inspired in the way that led you to want to be where you are right now. So be encouraged that I think that you are already, you have that role, even if you maybe still are seeking the role on camera in whatever franchise that may end up being. And I think that you'll get there. I think that it's pretty obvious that you're going to get there because you are where you are right now. So you'll get there. But on the way there, a mistake that I've made is always feeling like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah, me too.
I would just tell
Me
you,
too.
I would just tell you that you are everything you've just described and your motivation and what led you to want to chase and pursue this career to be able to inspire and encourage people. I can see that you're clearly already doing that. So I think you're there as far as that goes. Yeah.
I think you're right. And I think this is like one of the parts that I was saying I was kind of re-Lego myself because I feel like what I wanted to do, I'm kind of doing it already because I'm hearing people that. But like, working on set's really fun because you get to be these characters you will never be in life. You get to go crazy or like experience like, I love psychology too. So I'm excited to meet your wife.
Yeah.
So it's like when you were like working on this character development, you're working on psychology. So you get to know people better and you get to tell some people stories that cannot talk for themselves, some secret spy stories, but they want to be out there, but they can't.
Have you followed, just out of curiosity, so Victor Marks and Taryn?
Yeah.
Have you met Victor?
Yeah, he came. Yeah, he came to the range and he taught us like disarm and he
Right.
shot with us and we trained him too.
So have you listened to his story?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It's insane.
It absolutely is insane. It is one of those things. We were sitting down. We had Jared asked me if I wanted to go to breakfast and meet him, and so this was what, three days ago.
Yeah, it was on Wednesday.
Um,
Today is Friday.
yeah,
For
so-
everybody listening.
yeah. I'm burning the candle at both ends and in the middle, so I haven't slept in a couple of days. I'm a little tired.
Oh no!
Oh no!
What about health and peptides?
Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm gonna go home.
tell him. Tell him.
I'll
He
tell
needs-
him.
I am going to go home. Yeah, I'm taking you over to the house and we're going to have cookies. I'm telling you right now. Wait till you meet my wife. So we have breakfast with him and we sat down. He and I had a one-on-one, and I'll just keep that private for a minute. But
Yeah.
here's what I got. We have a very similar background from childhood, and it was very relatable in the moment. Even a little bit of tear come up, and that's how you have somebody who's authentic and real sitting
Yeah.
in front of you. Did you get that feeling with Victor?
Yeah.
That he's just very
Yeah.
very authentic.
Yeah.
So he'll be here tomorrow. He'll do a disarm, and we're gonna let him talk about running for governor, and not let him. We're asking him to talk about it. I'll let the man do whatever he needs to do. Sorry, Victor,
Yes,
that came out
stop
wrong. But here's the reason I'm asking. His story is actually very motivational.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be running for governor right now. The guy is self-made. He's traveled the world. He's rescued women, children. With the stuff he's done with his nonprofits and I've followed him for a long time. I do my own version of disarmament. I love watching his stuff and creating my own. I've taught a lot of law enforcement over the years, but when I sit down and I listen to the authenticity of this man, you just said it. I mean, when he sat back, he said, I don't know what's next, but here's what I know. I'm going to run for this. The state is messed up. The country is messed up. What is happening here should not be happening, and we're going to change it. And I heard you say that. I heard you say a piece of that. And so I would just encourage you, keep following not just your dream, but what you know in your core to be true. Because when I heard him say it the other day, that's actually what resonated the most with me, is it's coming from here.
Right.
It's not coming from politics. It's not coming from legislation and lobbyists. It's coming from his heart. That's a lot to hang out on the line.
Yeah.
When you're already made, and he doesn't have to do anything for the rest of his
Yeah.
life, and yet he's willing to stand up, serve his country, stand in the battle line. you could be that character for people.
That's beautiful. And I think that's like unite us. And I think we don't meet people by no reason in our life. I think we're all kind of in a way attract the similar energy. That's why it's so important for everybody out there. Just stay, like you said, stay yourself, stay honest, stay who you, I think Jared, you said like stay who you are, right? Because at the end of the day, you will somehow, if you pray and stay yourself, stay humble to the core of who you are there in your heart, you will attract the people who are similar. And then these conversations will be so much easier because I can look in your eyes. I'm like, well, I kind of was deconstructing myself. That's why I'm not so much on Instagram recently. Sorry, guys. Because I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of what's next for me. I've been fighting. A lot of things this year fall apart. A lot of things didn't go how they were supposed to go. A lot of great things happened. But like I need to figure out, reconstruct my past. Like what makes me happy? Where am I going in 5 years? And that's why it's so easy to look in the eyes and say that without like, oh, people gonna watch me and it's a podcast. And it's like, I'm just gonna say blah, blah, blah.
But it's not fake. And I think that's what matters. Everybody goes through stuff. Everybody struggles. My wife didn't want 2 types of cancer. She didn't. But she never slowed down. She never let that beat her. She never let it defeat her. She said, no, this thing's going in the rearview mirror and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Amazing. In fact, when she got diagnosed, she actually had, so this is ironic, she actually had so it's an annual cookie exchange that she's doing. The first week in December, she had a double mastectomy reconstruction surgery for cancer 4 days before the cookie exchange 4 years ago. And still put on the exchange, still hung out with her. Nobody would even known she had been through surgery.
Wow.
Because there's no quit in her. And it's just go, 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 go. And she's like, I can't let people down just simply because I had surgery. I'm going, what are you talking about?
Wow, that's a warrior.
Yeah, it is.
That's
a
a Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it is. And
that's like a true.
That's why I say I married way up. And so that's why I can't wait for you to meet her. You'll understand. Yeah, it's amazing. And so you aspire people, keep aspiring people. Keep doing what you're doing. Those other things will answer themselves.
Peptides. You got to do peptides. I'm talking about injuries and wife and health and stuff like that. Like you got to do, like, I'm like also, how to say it in English? I don't believe everything that they're selling out there, biohacking and this and that, but I'm very open book. Like I try everything, like literally almost everything. If it works, cold plunge. Okay, let's go. 4 a.m. in the morning, 87, 5. Okay, 6 a.m. Let's go cold plunge. We're doing it. Let's go. Peptides. I was told about it by Joe Rogan at the range. Actually, he told us that works. And then he recommended us a stem cell place and stuff like that. So when I actually got an injury, like a real injury with my wrist, doing judo and stuff, peptides helped me heal. And I couldn't hold a gun anymore. It was hurting. And I was like, I think I was with Asa or with somebody at the range, and I couldn't even like show how to hold a gun because it was so hurtful to hold. And the peptides literally helped my injury.
He's just grinning. I'm not even looking at him right now. He's been shaking his head. I told you.
You have to try.
Yeah, because everybody who does jujitsu does peptides. They commingle. They I don't know that one can really truly exist without the other.
I have a question for you guys, jujitsu masters. Like, how do you like do that constantly, daily, without injuries? And like, what is
Mike
the
is rolling his eyes because you called me a jujitsu master.
You guys boast to me.
That's
like,
the next thing. I'm going to have all the students call me Master Jared.
To me, you guys masters. Like, you guys watch your videos. It's like crazy. How do you guys like? Because when I start doing obviously I was crazy too. So don't listen to this. I was stupid. I just like, I can do it every day. Yeah. 3 hours. Yeah, every day from 5 a.m. Let's go, Tetiana. So I busted myself. It was my fault. But like
I did too.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that you said that because that's why I'm trying to tell him he needs to get on peptides is because he busted himself.
What did you do? Knee?
Knee on belly compound, two ribs snapped in half. And it just took forever. And then I tried rolling back too early and did it again.
Oh, no, me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, peptides.
Yeah. And I play hockey 4 nights a week, so it was interfering with my hockey.
Are you crazy?
No, it was
That's
like it was
even worse than jiu-jitsu.
it was bothering me because like I live to play hockey.
You have
I've
to
been
try
I've been hearing nothing but peptides for a year now.
I know, me too, for years. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? Nothing helps. I did stem cells, didn't help. I'm like, I'm just gonna try those BP 157, the
BPC
peptides.
157.
Yeah. Now, like, I'm hearing more about peptides for the brain and for other things.
There's
So
a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
try
of
them.
stuff out there. It's funny because my original professor, the black belt that I started with when I was 14, if you ask him the question, do you do peptides? He says, I am a peptide. What do you mean? I am a peptide at this point. But yeah, BPC 157, and they're combining with TB 500 right now. They call that the Wolverine stack, like Wolverine, the
TB
X-Men.
500.
Yeah, and that really helps with healing. So if you have it in one specific spot, you can just localize your injection. But if you have like multiple ailments, like I do sometimes, then you can just shoot it into your stomach and it'll just help everywhere. So you need to try it, Mike. It'll be good for you.
Did you guys try some stem cells?
I've never tried stem cells. No.
not.
What's it like? Have you done them?
I've done, but like it didn't do anything to me. Like I mean, but again, I've done only in one place. Like I'm gonna try another one too. And I don't know, maybe it has to be for a specific injury to help. Or I also have heard about stem cells that go in your blood, like the what is it called? Like when
From an IV standpoint?
like IV.
Yeah.
That's supposed to help your whole body.
I just play hockey and it seems to fix everything.
Now you sound like Chad.
Yeah. But to answer your question, because you did have a question in there before we kind of started just having fun for a second. But your question was, how do you guys do jujitsu and not get beat
Yes.
up? You get beat up.
You get beat up.
You get beat up. Injuries happen. Now, listen, it is possible to train.
First of all, let's be clear. He's 29.
I'm 28.
I keep aging. He's 28.
Come on, man. Don't put me 1 year older than I am.
I'm exactly twice his age plus 1 year. So him getting beat up and me getting beat up are two very different things.
I've also been doing
Yeah, it's
jujitsu
true.
for 14 years.
Yeah,
Almost 15 years. That's jujitsu years are different. That at least counts as like maybe double or triple. I don't know. Maybe not. But regardless, injuries happen. They still happen. But you can train. There's a way to train smarter rather than harder. And I learned that because a lot of cool doors have opened from being under Tom DeBlas. He's a really well-known black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's got good relationships with everybody in the jiu-jitsu community. But specifically, Gordon Ryan, one of the best in the world, arguably the best in the world, he actually was originally under Gary Tonin and Gary Tonin under Tom DeBlas. So Tom DeBlas has a lot of far-reaching connections. So I went and trained with him whenever I was in Austin. I trained with John Danaher, who is the coach of now the best team in the world. And I also trained with the second best team in the world, and that's what they would call themselves. So it's okay that it's not called B team anymore. But I trained with both of them. And it's interesting to see different approaches, because one approach, it's very much so just, okay, we're going to start very specifically from this position and we're going to work from here. And if you get out of this position, reset. And that's kind of smarter. It's compartmentalizing the roles and the training rather than just, okay, let's slap hands and let's just get after it.
Yeah.
So you can train hard and get good at jiu-jitsu, but you can also train smart and get good at jiu-jitsu. And I think that we're seeing a lot of people shift toward training smarter rather than harder. It was not like that when I started. When I started jiu-jitsu when I was 14, it was everybody's going to get together and this is just a tough guy club. We're just going to beat the crap out of each other. And that's what we did. And that's what it was for a long time until people that were kind of, I guess, smart started doing jiu-jitsu and started realizing that we can take a different approach and actually learn jiu-jitsu, learn the techniques, and then actually don't even just roll all the time, but let's start positionally training, start in a specific position with a specific objective and go live from there. But if you get out of there, reset. And it makes a lot of sense. The dots just have kind of started to be connected. So people are still going to get injured even with those restrictions, but you find a pattern where it's far less. Like our injury rate here at the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team, very low, but it's not, it still happens. Every once in a while somebody gets hurt, but very rarely, just because we try to train the smart way rather than just the hard way. We'll still get hard rounds every once in a while, but smart rounds is really what we prioritize, if that makes sense.
Awesome.
Hopefully that answers your question.
No, that's like awesome.
And to be fair, I hurt myself. I moved into a position that put me into a bad position. It's not so much that the guy did something to me as that I put myself into a bad position.
Yeah,
so,
like me.
Yeah, it was just, I was inexperienced at the time and didn't know what I didn't know, and I put myself there and I found out the hard way, and I haven't done it since. So I guess I learned something.
Also, like when I was enrolled in jiu-jitsu and stuff, I didn't know that, like, you can actually, it looks so fun. Like, you watch the movies, it's just so fun and so easy, but how hard it is, what kind of a craft it is, the human body, the anatomy of it, one little thing and you're done. And it's not the other person's fault, it's your fault.
Usually.
Because you should have tapped. but your ego went up and you didn't tap. So, and it's funny because nobody really talking about it. And it would be funny, to see, it will be cool to see from you guys. I mean, for me as an audience who loved your content, like maybe sometimes like what is the smart recovery process if you got some injury and stuff like that? Because when I got my injury, I was like, what am I doing? I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna tough it up, keep going. But that's not, like you said, the smart way. The smart way, get the peptides, get the recovery exercise, get whatever the knee pads, whatever you need to protect. They're making all this like jiu-jitsu knee pads and things like that.
Yeah.
That's supposed to help you right now with
Anaconda
rolling.
knee brace. Shout out.
Anaconda. Kyle.
We got Kyle.
Oh, you guys
Kyle.
know
The Eggman.
you guys know them?
Oh,
Anaconda?
no. Well, I guess we could argue that we know their braces pretty well.
We have a walking
but them,
sponsor.
no. Yeah, Anaconda knee braces. I think they're the ones that sell probably the most now, but we've got some guys that wear them. And we got one guy in particular that wears like every single one of their braces because he's got quite a few different ailments that he's working through. But I think that there's a blend to the approach you just said. Like you recover, yes, but at the same time, I think that especially like early on when you first start jiu-jitsu, most of the time what makes people quit is they get injured and then they never come back. I think that it's important to remember that you can still be a student, and when the body is weak, train the mind. And so you can come in and train smart, and you can train to your ability. Make sure that every time you're coming into session, you say, hey, by the way, my shoulders hurt, my knees hurt, whatever it is. And you say, so I'm going to be taking it easy, but I want to work through some of the techniques we're going through and do what I can, make sure I'm still trying to learn. And so I think it's a blend of those things, but it actually, I think a lot of research has pushed toward blood flow and movement for rehabilitation rather than rest and ice and compression. Like the Rice method has pretty much been debunked because of knees over toes guys. Ben Patrick, I don't know if you know who that is, but knees over toes guys. Knees over toes guy. That's his handle on Instagram. Okay, he was on Rogan's podcast, and he's helped a lot of athletes recover their knees, and it's because he uses the approach of no, you shouldn't just be resting. You should actually be moving and doing what you can, and specifically do these movements. These will strengthen your knees. These will help you. And so there's a lot to be said there. But we could go on and on forever. We've got some guys about to show up to film some content with you. Okay. And so let me ask one more question.
Beat me up?
Yeah, exactly.
I actually think it's supposed to be the other way around.
We're gonna.
No, I think honestly, this is what I think. I think it's supposed to be the way it would be in real life. Because I remember one time, so I was Chad, director of JWI, he came to the range, and I'm like, hey Chad, like look at my videos. I was just working with Jeremy. We did some jiu-jitsu clip for Gavin O'Connor to show for the audition for the movie. And I'm like, hey Chad, look at my new videos. Like I've done some jiu-jitsu. I didn't even know what I was talking about. That was so dumb. I was like, hey, look at my videos. I'm so cool. Yay. Talking to Chad, who's like, a black belt of everything. Like, and he like look at my video. He's like, enough is enough. And he's kind of like, get his hours. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what's wrong? I'm like, he's like, I'm so tired of like watching a little woman who's like whatever 120 to kick the guys. This is unrealistic. What I want to see you do, I want to see you like make a video where you yell, when you scream, when you bite, when you run away, when you fight like a woman, when you use your brains, your sexuality, your manipulation thing that you have, and show me that video. That's what I want to see.
This just sounded like exactly our.
What?
Yeah. So I do a women's self-defense class. I've been teaching it forever.
Love it.
And I created it with my wife as the psychologist. Because, and this, I'll be serious for a second. This is not meant to be funny, but you're making me laugh because you just said everything that we say in some way. We get a lot of women that have been assaulted.
Yeah.
Badly, right?
Yeah.
And so she gets them on the counseling side, or I got them on the warrant. I go kick the door in to get the bad guy, and we end up finding the victim. And you don't ever want to see them re-victimized again, right? And so that I started teaching this back in 94, 95, and I've been teaching it forever. And I've always just kind of done one-on-one classes with gals that have been hurt or traumatized in some way, shape, or form. And then we've opened up, we do little mini classes from time to time. And here at The Rock, we have Saturdays, gals can come in and roll, but most of them have a story, is the point. And one of the things that Jana and I, my wife, came up with was you as a woman have a natural control over a man. Men can be very, very isolated in their thought process. They get one thing in their mind, especially if it's violence and they want to hurt somebody. So one of the things that we teach is reverse psychology. If you go to the ground and the guy ends up in some type of control situation, use reverse psychology, get his brain out of it, let him think that you're actually into this thing as opposed to fighting back.
Yeah.
And then when he becomes vulnerable, you bring the attack and you disable him permanently. And it is incredible how many women have come to us and said, I wish I had known this type of training back in the day when this thing happened. And so we've been doing this for years and years and years. And when people first hear it, they're like, wait a second, you do what? You draw them in? Yeah. You use the reverse psychology to bring them in, and then you have the control over the person. No, we could demonstrate that tonight. We could
I love
role-play
that. That's what I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
I love all the videos that I've done on my Instagram and stuff like that. But training like for a year with, Chad and Jeremy at 87, it was, like I said, before we start rolling, it was my first kind of what's jiu-jitsu and judo all about. I realized there's no way I can put you on the ground and stuff like that. I need to get on the ground, get some kind of like whatever I have advantage over you, my flexibility, my brains, like my tiny neck that it's really hard to choke because I figured it out because it's so tiny and uncomfortable for guys to choke. I was like, okay, I need to learn about my body. What can I use against you? Instead of like, yeah, I'm going to jump you, get you on the ground. That's not going to happen.
We'll have quite a bit of content for you to be able to choose from, because we've actually had a really cool team come together to script some scenes for you before today. So
Nice.
we've got some guys coming that are very knowledgeable, black belts in jiu-jitsu, been doing it for a very long time, but also people that I know we can trust that are going to help move through these movements with you and make sure that you're not put in a position where you could potentially get hurt, right? Because we're going to make sure that you leave here without trying to file an insurance claim against me and all that. But anyways, we'll have a blend of all that. But let me ask this, because we're about to finish up this episode.
And put egg on my face.
Oh yeah. And I guess if you want to be egged, we'll egg you. But how did this all happen? How are you here? And what I mean by that is, how did you hear about us? Because you reached out to me, and I know you saw it on Instagram, but did somebody send you a video? Did you just see it on your Explore page? Do you remember?
I just saw it on my Explore page. I just saw it like, oh, it's like, and again, like it all happened at the same time when I started training in jiu-jitsu. I never knew what jiu-jitsu is. Like I kind of fell in love with that because, like you said, it's a mental game. It's physical, and you got injured really hard if you have ego like I did and like overwork yourself, but it's so mental. It's a mental game. And I think it's important game for a woman because, again, like what boxing and like stuff, like there is no way I can fist fight you guys, but I can use my brain. So I think I was just on Instagram and I saw your videos and I'm like, oh, this is just real cool. And the whole idea, classy. I mean, as a woman, I like classy in the suits because like all the jiu-jitsu stuff, it's amazing, but it's mostly like, let's be honest, sweaty man on the mats. And if you don't do jiu-jitsu and it's not fun and it's not entertaining to watch, you're going to get bored. Like my generation, like we're like 2 seconds people, like look like, oh, bored, not interested, You guys like brought class and a little of the movie aspect to it. And the clips are very short and they're really fun, and you can tell people have fun at your events. It's not like it's like bad energy. I can tell from a video, it's like, oh, this is like, looks like really like fun. Like in the gym where I am training, with my people, it's like, we're having fun. We're sparring, we're rolling. But at the end, everybody's like laughing, having a good time. And also, I mean, you guys have guns. So it's like, it's even funner to
Guns
watch.
and knives. Pretty cool. Oh yeah. The daily carry. Why did you point up there?
Well, because, gun, knife.
Oh yeah, gun,
faith.
knife, and then of course what we carry every day, which we want to make sure we're carrying our cross daily. Speaking of which, at the end of every episode, we end in prayer. I don't know if you saw Sean Ryan's podcast. He usually starts with prayer. Now I don't think that's what he's been doing, but we end with prayer every episode. That's what we do. And today is episode 51. You are welcome to pray if you want to pray. I can do it if you don't want to do it, but
I usually actually pray in my language. It's going to sound interesting.
That would
for
actually
you
be
guys.
perfect.
that'd be awesome. I can put subtitles, but I have to make sure that you
No, it's okay. I think it's better if you pray in your language because more people.
my language. Okay.
I mean, our language. What am I saying? Like
I
your
don't
language,
know.
my language. Like that was so weird. Our language.
Would you do it in Russian, or what would you?
I was in the Russian language. Yeah.
I actually think you should do that.
Don't let us pressure you. You don't have to.
Don't
but
say
if
niet.
you want to.
Don't
you
say
can do
niet.
it.
Don't say what?
Niet.
Niet. Don't say.
Don't say it.
Actually, it might be better if you pray in your language.
I can do it. Okay.
Okay, do it.
Okay. Lord, thank you for this opportunity to sit down and have a conversation. Thank you, Lord, for the stories that have been shared. Thank you, Lord, for your goodness and the ways that you've always been there, even whenever we face tough times, uncertain times, and even whenever we felt like we're at the end of our rope. You've never been far from us. You're one step away from us, and we thank you for that. We thank you for bringing us together, and we thank you for an opportunity to have some fun together as we're about to go shoot some content and as we're entering into JWI. And I pray that you'd protect everyone, all the competitors, all the spectators, and I pray that you'd help us in all that we do to lead people to you, to your grace, to your mercy. And I pray, Lord, that you'd bind us together according to your purpose for our lives, Lord. Continue to lead us and let us follow you. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
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 You
Okay.
sure you don't want to do one in Russia?
That was fantastic.
You want to do one now? You feel inspired?
That was like unbelievable.
You want to pray now?
That's like I only heard like Taryn pray like that before.
Taryn
was-
prays like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's got to come on the podcast.
That was amazing. I'm blown away.
Listen, I love God, and he's my best friend. I will tell you that. He is truly my best friend. There's nobody that has been in my life like God. And so I've just gotten used to just talking to him because he's always there. And whenever I have nobody else to talk to, I can talk to him. So I'm thankful for that. But
Same.
amen.
You always have that. Amen.
Amen. The last thing that we have is, you see this? We just now started this. So look, this is our signature wall. So we need you to just sign that for us. That's why we've got some Sharpies right there on the table. So if you don't mind, we're going to conclude this episode. Good episode.
It was great.
That was awesome.
Until next time.
Till tomorrow.
That's right. Until tomorrow.
Wow, I'm blown away.
Amen. Yeah, let me get this camera. What was this one?
Hold on just a second. So he's gonna. You put it wherever you want and as big as you want. Totally up to you. We can move chair out of the way. We can move the microphone out of the way. Wherever you want to be. So this is. So just so you know, this is mine. This is Sarah. This is Sheriff Darren Wheatley. This is Congressman Eli Crane, and that's Jerry.
I'll just sit right here.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah. Love it.
Awesome.
Absolutely love it.
Sweet.
I carry a gun 'cause this world's gone cold. A knife for the path when the stories unfold. But the one that leads me, come fire or trial, is the word in my hand with a leather-bound smile. It's the life that